Happy New Year, everybody. Even as Trump would say to all the haters and losers out there, because, yeah, as per usual, Donald Trump has ruined yet another holiday here in the United States. Um, get to that in just a moment. First, I do want to say, obviously, for real, Happy New Year to everyone. Some of you, as I can see from the chat already, joining us from overseas. So you guys are a little deeper into 2026 than we are here in the United States. So I hope your 2026 is already off to a great start. If not, you know, got a full year, things could get better. Hopefully they do for everybody watching and everybody not watching. We do want a great year. We want a good midterm year. I think at this point it is the Democrats' election to lose. If they're smart, obviously, if they run on the economic issues, I think they got it in the bag. Not to mention, obviously, we've seen some pretty massive Democratic victories, including just this week in red states, areas where Democrats should not be winning. And of course, they are, sometimes by pretty large margins. So, yeah, we're looking at hopefully having a really okay year. And I say okay because there will be great things, but obviously we still got to deal with Dementia Donnie sitting in the Oval Office, bombing any country that he pleases, while also wishing the worst upon those of us here in the United States who disagree with him. And that brings me, of course, to Donald Trump's New Year's Eve message that he sent out yesterday. Now, it's always fun. And maybe we should start a little pool on this to see who or what Donald Trump is going to rage about on a holiday. This time, of course, it was the state of Colorado, which he had punished a day or so earlier by vetoing a piece of legislation that would have created a pipeline to provide clean drinking water to over 50,000 Coloradans. And Trump said no. Then, of course, Wednesday, he gets on Truth Social and blast the state of Colorado, specifically two officials. He said, quote, "God bless Tina Peters, who is now for 2 years out of 9 sitting in a Colorado maximum security prison at the age of 73 and sick for the crime of trying to stop the massive voter fraud that goes on in her state where people are leaving in record numbers. Hard to wish her a happy new year. But to the scumbag governor and the disgusting Republican rhino DA who did this to her, nothing happens to the Dems and their phony mail-in ballot system that makes it impossible for a Republican to win in an otherwise very winnable state. I wish them only the worst. May they rot in hell. Free Tina Peters." Okay. I mean, that's certainly one way to spend your last day of 2025. But also, Tina Peters is in jail for 9 years because she broke the law. Several counts against her, by the way, of illegally accessing and allowing others to access the voter information for the state of Colorado that, ironically, she, through her illegal access, could have manipulated. So, yeah, she's where she belongs because she broke the law. Now, I know that's a weird concept for you, Donald, because obviously you broke the law, you got convicted, and then you had absolutely zero punishment. But for the rest of us out here in the world, that's what happens. For those who may not remember, Donald Trump did issue a pardon for Tina Peters recently, or at least he announced on social media he was. And I think what happened here is that somebody finally came up to him in his administration was like, "Hey, man, those are state crimes. You can't do anything. She's stuck in jail. So sorry, but in this particular position, you are in fact powerless." And that's what's driving Trump insane about it. He can't do anything. Even as president of the United States, he's powerless. And that's the part that absolutely sends him over the edge. He wants to be all powerful. He wants to be able to do whatever he wants to on this planet. And he almost can't. Like there's only a few little things that he cannot do. But even with all the power he has, even with all the wealth that he has, it'll never be enough for him. That is how you can tell when somebody is trying to head us straight into a dictatorship. The massive amount that he has is still not good enough. It's not good enough until it's absolute. And then once it's absolute, he needs more. And where do you go to get that more power? Well, you try to engage in regime change in Venezuela and take that over. You try to take over Greenland, which once again, he is back to discussing. You try to annex Canada or perhaps Nigeria. Maybe that's why he's over there bombing them. We don't know. But he doesn't have enough power here at home. He wants to solidify that, and then he wants to basically have it roll over the entire globe. A couple super chat here. Let me get to. It's from Agent Shadow Wolf. Says, finally made it to a live stream. Great to be here. Farron, do you think the Republicans' goal now is to rig laws to help them win the midterms? 100%. They're already putting that in motion, at least at the federal level. Donald Trump is, of course, trying to solidify his control over how states run elections, which very unconstitutional. Constitution makes it clear states have the authority to decide the manner and terms under which they hold their own elections. But nevertheless, he has put that election denier, her name escapes me at the moment, she's now in charge of that. And they are actively trying to rework it. They like Trump trying to get rid of all the mail-in ballots for all the states, which he can't do legally unless the U.S. Supreme Court decides, of course, to give him that authority and shred the Constitution down to nothing. So it is definitely something they want to do. We are seeing states try to kind of curtail what's going on with their own elections, shortening voter times, closing down polling locations, forcing people to have to drive an hour or two. And of course, most of those happening in, poor or rural communities and minority communities, especially. So they are actively trying to do this. Yes. A super chat from Moondragon says, Happy New Year. I'm up way too early after all the fireworks going off last night. Yeah, my dogs were not happy about that. We had way more fireworks this year around our neighborhood, I guess, than usual, and they started at like 5 p.m. So that was rough with the dogs. I've got one, Hannah, the oldest. She absolutely hates it. She can't stand it. So that was rough for her. Super chat from V-Man says, I guess they won't trade a 5-star restaurant in Manhattan for a Waffle House in Florida. No, I love that. And hey, by the way, if you haven't seen it, this is a story I had actually earmarked about a week or so ago and just never had time to talk about because so much was happening. New York is actually experiencing a massive influx of new residents. New York City. Remember during the election when, if Zoran Mandami wins, we're all leaving New York. Everybody's going to leave. The businesses will leave. Wall Street investment will die. And realtors have come out for over a month now giving their stories like, hey, this is not actually happening. What's happening is that we're selling more real estate in New York than we ever have. Not just, residences. We're selling, business real estate. People are flocking into New York after Mamdani got elected. So, everything they predicted about that, the gloom and doom and all that crap, the exact opposite is happening, and you love to see it. Super chat here from Daniel. Unfortunately, it cuts the name off and won't let me click on it. It says, Happy New Year, Farron from Ottawa, Ontario, Canada. Sorry about the shit stuff going on, my American cousins. Well, thank you very much for the kind message of the super chat. And yeah, it's, it is what it is, I guess we'll say. We are going to persevere. Nevertheless, we persist, to paraphrase the attack on Elizabeth Warren. It is important to point out, however, that the rot in hell message is not the only unhinged, crazy thing that Donald Trump did on social media yesterday. He also shared numerous posts attacking the Kennedy family after it was announced that JFK's granddaughter had, of course, passed away after a battle with cancer. Now, this obviously, he's continuing on with the Rob Reiner type attacks on people who do not like him. But what really gets me about this one is that he seems to forget that he has a Kennedy, the worst one, in his administration. And yet, throughout the day yesterday, he's out there, sharing these attacks on Truth Social on the Kennedy family. And I'm sure Bobby's over there like, oh God, I wish he wouldn't say that about my niece, but or whatever. I used to be able, back when I was with Ring of Fire and Bobby was with Ring of Fire. I used to be able to do a really great Bobby impression. Over the years, my voice is not able to do what it used to. But also, screw him. He's an ass. Can't stand that Kennedy. But Trump's attacks on the family that is grieving this young woman's death on the last day of the year, right after Christmas. I mean, just absolutely. You can't even call him a heartless ghoul, because I think that is an insult to heartless ghouls around the planet. This man is sociopathic. I think absolute textbook definition of a sociopath, Donald Trump is. And we have to start looking at things in those terms, almost the clinical diagnoses that Trump desperately needs, but has not gotten. If it wasn't so damn expensive, I really would recommend people go out there and purchase a DSM-5. I got one back when I was going for my major in cognitive neuroscience, 12 years ago, because I needed it for my courses, but it was super expensive back then. But anyway, I have one, and I have gone through it, and you can look at, the things that Trump does, the way he behaves, and you can line them up with all of these, psychological conditions. And when you do that, when you start to see it in those terms, it really makes a lot more sense. It doesn't excuse it, but then you start to realize why he is the way he is. In fact, I need to dig that out of storage. I've had it in a box. We moved into this place a while ago, and I haven't gotten it out. But I need to do that, and maybe I'll sit here one day doing a live stream, and we'll just go through the DSM-5 and just really, offer our non-clinical diagnosis of Donald Trump. We could do that together. I think that would be a lot of fun. So I'll put that on my to-do list, and hopefully I can go find that. I got a ton of boxes. I don't know where it is, but I will find it, and we will do that hopefully very soon. A super chat from Scorpius ZA says, hope you had a good New Year. Any chance of a pet tax with the cats and dogs at some point in the future? I don't know. That's a little. I don't know. Donald Trump, I could see it. I could see him doing something like that due to the fact that he clearly hates animals. So maybe the Republicans in Congress don't seem to be too fond of anything other than the wealthy elite. So we could see some kind of tax on either pet care, an additional tax on pet supplies, pets themselves. Now, if you want to give people tax breaks for having pets, that'd be great. I got a house filled with cats and 4 dogs. Yeah, I would love tax breaks for pet ownership. But who knows what the future holds? Could be a weird year. Could be a year where we see legislation that nobody could have predicted. A lot of, bizarre things. I mean, after all, here's the thing. I keep seeing videos about this on Reels. The One Big Beautiful Bill, it extended the tax cuts for the wealthy elite, which of course immediately go into effect today. What also goes into effect, though, is that they changed the gambling deductions. And that pissed off a lot of like the really hardcore high roller gamblers. So now you can only write off 90% of your deductions or losses, versus 100% as it has been forever against your winnings. So even if you lose, like at a casino or playing the lottery, scratch offs, whatever it is you play, you're going to owe money on your losses. So that is just an absolutely, truly bizarre, really no reason for that to have happened thing that happened with that bill. So like I said, we got some weird legislation that, really didn't even get the kind of digging into it that it deserves. And we could see a lot of that this year. A lot of these, we're going to sneak in these weird provisions here. This is probably a lot of Republicans' last year in office. So they're going to be handing out favors. They're going to be doing weird things to try to either set themselves up with a better job when they leave, or to help their wealthy friends so that those friends end up funding their election and maybe they have a chance at winning. So that is something to keep an eye on this year, is just kind of, pay attention to the legislation, because we're going to see a lot of favors being doled out by the Republicans in Congress as they struggle to keep their seats. A super chat here from the Great Gatsby 9 says, I can honestly say the only good thing Trump has done for me was when he was elected the first time, because it led me to finding you on Ring of Fire, and I've been watching every day since. Thank you for everything you do. Oh, I appreciate that. And yeah, look, I got to be honest. Trump has been great for progressive media, not just because, we got an easy target. Yeah, sure. But the growth of progressive media. Midas Touch, which is now, the biggest group, they didn't exist prior to that. Had it not been for Trump's election, I don't think they would have. Brian Tyler Cohen, another one that only came about like after that, and they became huge, and they're good. Like, don't get me wrong. I'm not saying any of these people like, they wouldn't be here if it weren't for Trump. I'm saying the nonstop crap from Trump during the first term gave a lot of people, I think, either the inspiration to start doing this and again become like these massive voices in progressive media, but it also allowed them to express themselves. And with the social media kind of blowing up the way it has, there's a lot of good things that did happen with progressive media in terms of putting a lot more people out there, a lot more people talking about it. So yeah, I guess that was the one good thing he did. And a clarification here from Scorpius ZA says, I was more thinking about seeing your pets. I didn't mean an actual attacks. Promise. Okay. Well, yeah, I misunderstood. Sometimes it's a little difficult to, when you're reading something, you can lose context to things, but yes, the puppies are asleep right now. Hannah and Aspen kind of taking it easy this morning. Hannah doesn't like to leave the room until my wife does. And since she is on her, winter break from teaching, she gets to sleep in. So Hannah takes over my spot on the bed as soon as I get up and head to the shower. And Aspen, she just wants to be wherever I am. And she's actually the only dog that I will allow right now to come into the studio because she's not destructive. Puppies would absolutely chew up every cord, every cable. And Hannah will put her head like right here just to make sure that I see that she is here. I know me, love me right here. Aspen will come in and chill and just enjoy being with me. But Aspen has got a little too big for me to be able to pick her up and show her on camera like I did way back in the day when she was a puppy on that end screen. But yeah, so that was fun, but they grow up fast. They grow up big. Pam Bondi yesterday, I want to talk about this for a minute. Not yesterday, actually it was Tuesday, I think. But anyway, Pam Bondi also humiliated herself on social media, just like Donald Trump. She came out, she posted a chart showing that fentanyl deaths in the United States have gone down since Trump took office. Wow. What a great accomplishment. She's boasting about Donald Trump saving American lives. The only problem is she's claiming that it happened this year when the chart was for years 2015 through 2024, showing the decline. 2015, obviously pretty high, 2016, 17, 18, all that. And then during the Biden years, went way down. And of course, once it was pointed out to her by everybody on social media that, hey, you're actually showing that Biden did all these great things, she deleted it, didn't want people to see that, oh no, Biden did something good. So let's delete the evidence. I mean, here's the thing. First of all, you didn't have to give Trump credit for something he didn't do. But you did it because you're a sycophant and you're worried about losing your job because of your nonstop string of failures. I get it, Pam. But secondly, that doesn't change the fact that that's still good news you can share with the American public, right? Like, that's what gets me about it, is like, you can still celebrate a positive even if you weren't the ones who oversaw it. Anything good happening for America is still good, but not in the eyes of this administration. That's how petty they are. So she would rather, as somebody just said in the comments, redact it than just admit, like, hey, things are moving in a positive direction in at least one area of the country. By one metric, things are better in America, and we're going to bring you a lot more success in the years to come. That's how you could have phrased it. You didn't have to delete it, maybe go in, edit it, change it to where you're not giving Trump credit for something Biden did. But she couldn't even do that. She was like, screw it, I give up, I quit. And we'd love to see you quit, Pam. You're very bad at your job. Not that you're going to be replaced by anybody more competent or less evil, but I do think these horrible people getting fired and humiliated is funny, and I would like to see it. Even if it means you're replaced by somebody equally as bad, I still want these people to be publicly humiliated. I want them to be shamed. I want them to experience the unpleasantness that they are trying to force others to experience. And yeah, maybe that makes me petty. I've never claimed not to be. So that is what I would like to see. That's my goal for New Year's, right? That's what I want to see in 2026, is all of those absolute horrible human beings from this administration publicly humiliated, lose their jobs. Trump attacks them on social media relentlessly, and then they're never able to find a job again and have to spend the rest of their days without work, penniless and friendless. I don't think that's too much to ask for, right? But maybe I'm just mean, right? Maybe I'm starting off the year a little angry at these people for what they've done to the country, or maybe it's exactly what they deserve, and I believe in people getting what they deserve, right? Good or bad. If you're a bad person, you deserve to have bad things happen to you. If you do bad things to other people, you deserve to have bad things happen to you. I only wish for you what you wish for others. That's the best way to put that. Comment here, super chat from Moondragon3. Thank you very much. It says, karma is never petty. No, but I can be at times. So, it's just something I got to deal with. It's not something I'm going to work on this year. Absolutely. It's something I got to deal with. I kind of like who I am. And I'm not a bad person, I think. Maybe there's MAGA people out there thinking, no, you're a horrible person. You're spreading all of this truth that we don't want to hear, and it makes us feel uncomfortable. So be it. Listen, folks, we got a great year ahead of us. At least we do right here on this channel. For the last month, of course, I've been doing these live streams, obviously taking a couple holidays off here and there. But this is something that is going to continue. It might even be something that gets expanded in 2026. I've enjoyed them so much. This is so much fun, especially when we do kind of get down these little rabbit holes and we're just talking about whatever comes up. I enjoy it. It's a great way for me to start my day. I hope you guys have been enjoying it as a good way to start your day. And we're going to continue, as I said, perhaps expand them in the future. But until then, at least Monday through Friday, 9 a.m. Central Time, these live streams are going to continue. And of course, plenty of great content throughout the day, every day, doesn't matter the day. So please make sure you stay tuned throughout the day for the rest of that. Kathy Hearn, thank you very much for the super chat. Says, Happy New Year and thank you. Well, thank you guys. This doesn't exist without any of y'all, okay? If the viewers weren't there, it's just me sitting here barking in the dark. So thank you all for a wonderful 2025. Let's make 2026 even better. As everybody knows, we hit 1 million subscribers December 1st, actually. Let's keep that going. Let's keep the growth going. Make sure you're sharing the content, right? That is one of the most important things you can do. Let's get more like-minded people over here joining in the discussions, joining in, just regularly watching the segments that come up throughout the day. And if you're not already subscribed, please do so. Again, we have great content every single day, live streams 5 days a week. And if you want to follow me across social media, I'm at Farron Balanced, Instagram, Facebook, Blue Sky, TikTok, and Threads at Farron Balanced. If you go over to Twitter, or X, if you want to call it that, I'm at Farron Balanced, and I encourage all of you to not follow me on Twitter. I have not been active over there in quite some time, so if you think you're going to go over there and follow me and get content, you will not. You will get absolutely nothing from me. Honestly, at this point, he may have deleted my account. I don't know. I don't care. I'm not going back, and nobody else should either. I'm actually getting really, really frustrated at all of these leftist, liberal, progressive, whatever they want to call themselves, people that are still posting all day, every day on X. I get it. You got a large following, and it's super fun, and it's hard to abandon that. But I think it's even harder to abandon my principles. So I abandoned my followers on Twitter to keep my principles. And I encourage everybody else to do the same thing. I don't want to start this year with fighting other people on the left. I don't want to call people out, but please stop. Please. You're not gaining anything from staying over at Twitter. You can still make the same posts on Blue Sky. Are you going to get 10,000 retweets on it? No. But it doesn't matter. Please abandon Elon's Nazi platform. Last super chat here says, thoughts on nixing compound interest on mortgages? Hell yeah. We should. Compound interest is one of the horrible things that actually helped lead to the mortgage crisis that we had in from 2006 to about 2009. Don't like it. Needs to go. Last super chat. Okay, then I got to get out of here. Twitter needs to be sent to the dustbin of history. I agree 100%. Until there is, completely new ownership and they change everything from what Elon did back to how it was, maybe even better, I'm going to be off it. I'm not going back. There's no use to it. I have not lost anything from abandoning Twitter. So everybody else, you can do the same thing. I like the engagement and all that. It looks good with the big numbers. But what does it get you? Right? What does that do for you? Because you're not getting paid for it. So it's an ego thing, I think. And again, I encourage everybody to get off it. So until then, subscribe if you're not already. Follow me across social media. Tune in Monday through Friday at 9 a.m. Central Time. Share the content. Stay tuned for the rest of the day's stuff. That's not a good way to say that. I don't want to end sounding like an idiot. But I'm gonna. Happy New Year, everybody. I will see you tomorrow morning.